Public Television.
Major funding for the following program was provided by Friends of Iowa Public Television. The All-State Music Festival, before the Downbeat. The finished product is over 1,000 Iowa high school musicians coming together for one of the largest festivals in the country. This program will provide some insight into the thoughts of the guest conductors, various students and instructors, and will present some musical selections from the festival itself.
Rehearsal facility for the All-State Band has rather traditionally been the Grand Ballroom at the Hotel Fort Des Moines. One has to realize it's a 285-piece band, and when you have the complexities created by a trombone slide, or the size of a tuba, or the fact that some of the saxophone instruments have to come off the side of the chair, and you realize the vast amount of room that it takes to rehearse, we really are quite limited in what facilities we can use. The Grand Ballroom in the Fort Des Moines, when we are there, is totally filled. It is wall-to-wall people, as anyone who's been to a rehearsal can tell, and yet acoustically works quite well.
And I'd like to have you play it in the comfortable register of your instrument. And I'd like to have you play descending intervals by half step.
Ray Kramer is this year's conductor for the All-State Band. He is chairman of the music department at Indiana University. At Indiana, his directing duties include the Symphonic Band, which has earned a reputation for outstanding quality, as well as the famed Marching 100. Mr. Kramer spent several years teaching in the public schools in Illinois, Iowa, and Ohio. He is a respected teacher and clinician. As guest conductor, he has worked with honor bands and all-state bands throughout the country. Ray Kramer, conductor of the 1985 All-State Band.
We have to realize that in our business and in our profession that what we're selling is an intangible. And that intangible is the thing that the students feel inside and the satisfaction that they feel inside from being a part of a large whole of making something happen that's a very exciting thing, and yet it's an intangible. It's not a product that you can put on the table and say, this product is, here's what it'll do for you. So I think from a salesmanship standpoint, it becomes more difficult to sell an intangible. And in order to do that, you have to, I think, be inwardly yourself very excited about what you're trying to promote, and to share with them a feeling that somewhere along in your career that you have felt. One of the motivating factors that propelled me into the music world was, I remember the first time that I participated in the Illinois All-State Band. I came from a very small school, and my musical background was really limited from the standpoint of I hadn't had a lot of private lessons, and our group was always a fairly good high school band, but not one that I would consider, you know, one of the outstanding, is what we think of today. And my first rehearsal in that all-state band, and somehow I, through sheer luck or whatever, but I ended up first chair trombone. And you know, you have certain responsibilities as a section leader. But I'll never forget the first rehearsal. We got into the room, and we started playing a piece called Procession of Nobles by Rimsky-Korsakov. And it has a very brassy, very flashy opening. And I sat there. I'd never heard trumpets sound like that in my life. And for the first 5 minutes of that rehearsal, I sat there with my mouth open and the trombone in my lap. Didn't play a note. I was so awestruck by what was happening in that room that, and then finally, all of a sudden, hey, wait a minute here, I got to play. You know, I need to be playing. But I'll never forget how I felt inside when that first experience came about. And I know for a lot of students in this all-state band, it'll be the same way. A lot of them come from very small groups. Maybe they only have 40 people in their high school band. Maybe they're only one trumpet out of 5 or 6. And all of a sudden, they're sitting in a room where there's maybe 60 trumpets.
Time, please. I'm sure we're anxious to get this started. It's my pleasure.
Here are some of the students with their own comments about all-state participation.
Oh, it was a really great experience. I was really nervous when we went into auditions for the first time, but I was really shocked at the results. Thought I really did bad, but it's really exciting and it's a great experience.
It's a really big thrill because everybody can play in the band and everybody knows their music in the band, and you're not the best player in the band. In fact, you're not one of the best players in the band, and everybody understands the music more than you do, and it's just fun to play with people who play a lot better than you do, and it's fun. I like it.
It's been 2 years since I was selected. I missed out last year, and I worked really hard to get in, and I feel, you know, it's really great to be here.
I was really surprised when I got picked. I've only been playing for about 10 months or 11 months, so when I heard that I was the first one in, then I was really surprised.
Well, it's really quite an honor because I've really tried for a long time. I've been practicing really hard all summer, and a lot of people don't make it, and it feels good to be one that makes it.
Well, for me, it was pretty exciting. You know, you practice hard a lot, and then finally when you make it, it's quite a relief. And it's quite a thrill just to be here.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It doesn't seem to matter that much what kind of a chair you get. Just the fact that you're being here. It's really exciting to be in a group of this caliber, you know.
But it takes more than just desire to be one of the best.
I've been practicing since last summer, and about an hour a day maybe, and then more as it gets closer.
About an hour a day. At least I try to do it. And if you want to be better, then you keep going more and more. And it's what you want to get out of it. If you want to win at All-State, you put in that extra time. If you don't want to, then you don't.
We had to work with them on 2 difficult etudes. They prepare a solo of their choice, and then all 12 of their major scales. And they're required to play the scales at a specified speed, their chromatic scale in the entire range of their instrument. And we start working, many of them start working the year before to prepare a fine solo so that they have that ready for the fall so that they can prepare the other music.
Well, after I made it last year and I knew I could make it, it took a lot more this year, and I practiced a lot harder, probably about 10 hours a week.
Well, we have a great deal of pride in our students. We believe that being selected for the All-State Band is one of the highest honors our instrumental or vocal or choral students, orchestra students can achieve. So we're very proud of the efforts that they have made toward that selection.
Our audition processes have been located at 6 centralized centers across the state of Iowa. The 6 centers that we are now traditionally using are Storm Lake in the northwest corner, Belmont in the north central district, Independence in the northeast district. We go to Washington southeast, Indianola south central, and Atlantic southwest. In instrumental, we print a fall contest bulletin that specifies what selection those students will play. Each student does perform on the same selection by specific instrument. Now, the audition process actually includes instrumentally of a solo of choice. Each student plays any solo they so desire for approximately 2 minutes. They then play the chosen etude, which every student has to play for approximately 2 minutes, and approximately 2 minutes are devoted then to playing all of the various major and minor scales, which many times becomes the real determining factor as to who will be selected and who will not.
The music that I've chosen for this year's program, I always try to pick a variety of things for the students. And a variety not only in the types of literature that we'll play, but also in the difficulty level as well. So what I've chosen is, one of the works is a relatively new work by a young man by Timothy Marr, who is a band director at, and he was at the University of Minnesota Duluth for a while. I'm not sure exactly where he is this year. But the piece is called Fantasia in G. The main theme of the piece is based on the last movement of the Beethoven Ninth Symphony, the Ode to Joy theme. And his treatment of this theme and the color that he gets out of the large ensemble you know, it makes it very exciting for the players and for everyone, listeners, I think, together. On the other side of the coin, I've chosen a very, an older work that actually the initial sketches, if I can use that word, were done back in the early 1900s, 1906, 1907, by Percy Granger. The piece in itself, as a whole, was not published until the 40s. So it sort of sat there, and his ideas sort of sat there for all those years. But the piece is entitled Lincolnshire Posy. A few years ago, Acton Osling, who did his doctorate at the University of Iowa, did a study of band directors from across the country. And he asked them to rate what they thought were their favorite numbers, the best piece written for the wind band. And without a doubt, Lincolnshire Posy was the #1 choice time and time and time again, because of the variety that it offers within the piece itself. It's really a suite of 6 movements, and they're all based on folk songs. Another number that we're going to do is another recent number by Alfred Reed called Viva Musica. And it's the kind of piece that everyone in the band will have fun playing. The music is exciting. It has a fresh sound because of his use of instrumentation in combination to produce the kind of colors that he's able to get. And it's not often that you can have a piece where the bass drummer and the tubist and the first clarinetist and the first trombonist are all going to have fun, you know, doing and playing that piece. So I specifically chose that number for that reason. Final number that we're going to do is a piece called The Pines of Rome. And this is a suite that was done by Respighi, in which he talks about various, they're tone poems, really. And the one that we're going to do is called The Pines of the Appian Way. And it's a piece that will fit this group because it's a piece that starts off so very quietly. And you sort of have to envision what the composer said he envisioned as a man would stand on the edge of an ancient battlefield and maybe looking through the fog. And then as the fog clears, you envision battles of great heroism going on this field, and the music just continues to build and grow in intensity until at the very end it becomes overwhelming. it may be a cliche, but that's teamwork. It's cooperation, it's working together. And it doesn't matter what we do in life, we have to learn to do that because it's important in every field. So it's a medium that we're using to help teach those kinds of character qualities. And at the same time, what we can add to that is going back to what I said earlier, that intangible. That thing that we try to motivate the kids to do, that we try to sell them, that feeling that comes inside, that's the creativity. That's the aesthetic quality that is so hard to grasp, and yet it's the very thing that keeps us all going, that keeps us all motivated in this field.
Trumpet 1, trombone 1, tuba 1.
I believe that it's really true that we're trying to teach our young people and have them learn some things of themselves and something about basic character and self-discipline that will stay with them, that they will remember and be able to use in whatever field of endeavor that they choose for the rest of their life. Well, that's the salesmanship, I think, that feeling, that's what we're trying to promote among these students. And I think it does take a certain amount of salesmanship and motivation to have them and to help them realize that what a great experience that is. And it's a feeling they're not going to get by turning up speakers as loud as they'll go or anything else, putting the earphones on. I mean, it just doesn't happen because they're generating it themselves. They're producing it. That's where creativity comes in. That's the excitement of live performance.
It's harder to hear here than it is where we've been rehearsing. You have to trust yourselves and you have to trust me more, even more. We're staying right together, right together. Let's go back, please. String basses and low woodwinds. Would you just be more careful where those quarter notes come? 2 times on the beat, 3rd time on beat 2. Okay, right together, please. Let's go back. I like to start the hold, measure 32. Here we go, hold 32. I like to hear a little more first cornet, first trumpet, bum ba da da. Bring that out. Okay, here's the hold, measure 32, and G.
Major funding for the 1985 All-State Music Festival, before the Downbeat, was provided by Friends of Iowa Public Television.